What's going on, guys? Pegasus from the Wise Guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you sub. Make sure you hit the bell, guys. It is tech time. The tech time that I wanted to talk about today is really just two cards that I've been noticing. One that I know I've been noticing could be in someone's deck, and one that I feel like is a tech that people really haven't been paying attention. So let's talk about that one first. The card that I wanted to talk about is Instant Fusion. The reason I wanted to talk about it is simply because of Branded. Now, guys, the whole reason I'm talking about the card is because in Branded, with a card like Branded opening, there's a simple stack on top of another card that you can use. It really is another strategy from a couple years ago. If you guys can remember with Orcust, when it was able to save the card pretty much. Now, the similarity obviously isn't quite the same because Gersu is inside the extra deck, and pretty much with Orcust cards, you are always going to get there. Whereas this specific strategy that I'm mentioning, you would have to open the Branded opening as well as the Instant Fusion to be able to maximize its value, unless you're using the extra body for something like Guardian Chimera. There's basically a lot to fix and be desired. Now, obviously, you can summon Kaliga, you can summon Winda, but there's a third card that I wanted to talk about, and that card is Raijin. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about it, and shout out to Dan Gallagher, Father Gallagher, having a Raijin inside of your deck, maybe the mashup that you're using Branded in, you may have a card that you need to have the effect resolve, and you need to dodge cards like Impermanence and Veiler. Raijin can help you to have a Fluandery style counter attack to be able to play through something, or have a Book of Moon on your opponent's turn if you happen to open the Branded opening. Essentially, to wrap this up, guys, if you can have a Kaliga saved and on your side of the field, if you can have an extra Winda saved and on your side of the field, or a Raijin to be able to play around hand traps and book an opponent's monster, and obviously book a barrier statue if you needed that type of strategy inside of your deck. I know, obviously, with Branded, there's going to be a lot of squeezing inside of these extra decks, but this is just something to think about, guys. And most of the time, the Instant Fusion is going to be a duplicate copy of cards inside of your extra that you can already make. Just saying, guys. Let me know what you think about it. The second card I wanted to talk about today was Magical Spring. Obviously, this card has been seen inside of deck lists and is a little bit popular. I just wanted to talk about it here, so let's talk about it. Magical Spring essentially says draw a number of cards equal to the number of face-up spell or trap cards your opponent controls, then discard a number of cards equal to the number of face-up spell or trap cards you control until the end of your opponent's next turn. After this card is activated, spell and trap card your opponent controls cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. Also, their activation and effects cannot be negated. You can only activate one Magical Spring once per turn. Now, why in the world am I mentioning this card? Well, basically, guys, what people have noticed inside of this meta is that decks like DDD, with decks basically leaving cards face up on the field, such as DDD, such as this terribly generic adventure engine. I could mention a whole lot of decks, but those are the first two that come to mind, and obviously those are the most potent things out right now. A card like Magical Spring basically being able to be chained to your opponent activating a card to get the maximum value, or essentially leaving stuff like a potential mashup if you have a Meltdown left face up on the field, if you have the Adventure Journey on the field, if they have Draco back left up face up on the field. Sometimes, guys, they leave 2 to 3 cards face up on the field if you've ever observed a deck being played. And then obviously they would leave more if they have a mashup of decks and have a field spell potentially on the field. Guys, it's basically what people have noticed inside of this meta. I don't know necessarily if it's the most powerful side deck card, but it's definitely something I feel like should be talked about, because it hasn't really, and I've noticed that on YouTube, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit. Guys, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you tune in for the upcoming 6 Samurai deck profile from my homeboy Armin Memedovich, as well as some events and some of the deck profiles coming from him. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm out. YG baby, Pegasus signing out. Arrivederci.